That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, mic check 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil here with you on this streaming special talking about the potential for winter weather coming our way. I'm joined by meteorologist Danielle Moss. We'll be talking about, at least for the next hour, the potential for winter weather coming our way. And I know as soon as you hear snow in the forecast or ice, everybody thinks about Snowmageddon so many years ago. We've had snow events since then. Timing has been the key, which is very important. We're also to let you know that you were watching a system that hasn't even really formed yet. It's not coming our way as of yet. We got a couple of days in here where we'll get some sunshine and things will be looking okay, still very cold, before the system gets in here. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in the forecast as far as what type of precipitation we'll receive. If it mixes, what will it mix with? How much we'll receive? All those things will come into fruition as we get a little bit closer and the system starts to form and begins to move in our direction. One thing I know about winter weather is that there's uncertainty in the forecast all the way up until the event. These things can change quite rapidly and often do, and even while it's going on, will begin to change. We have two weather impact alerts for you. The one for this morning, of course, is for the cold weather. That cold air has rushed in, no doubt you have felt it yesterday as the winds were ripping around and the cold air was in place, just felt really frigid on the outside. And that continues at least for this morning. Although our winds have begun to die down, the wind advisory that we had has been allowed to expire. And so the winds are still whipping around just a little bit. They're just a little bit breezy, not as high as they were just yesterday. And so we'll let this stay in place at least until about 10 or 11 o'clock this morning, and then we'll let that go. And then you notice that over the next couple of days, not much change in the forecast at all. We're looking at temperatures starting off in the 20s, low 20s as a matter of fact. So we'll be frigid in the mornings. You're looking at 43 degrees for the high both Wednesday and Thursday. And then as we get into Friday, that's when we're expecting precipitation to begin to move back into our area. The cold air still in place. So you're still looking at temperatures starting off in the 20s, of course. We're looking at 38 degrees by Friday, 31 degrees start on Saturday, and then 40 for a high temperature on Sunday. The thing you will notice is that our temperature will be above freezing during parts of the day. It's only in the evening time that we'll get below freezing, and then during the early morning hours before it begins to warm back up again. That is key also, especially when it comes to forecasting winter precipitation. So Friday is what we're looking at right now, and right now we'll give it a 50% chance for a wintry mix to be in our area or parts of our area, and then a 40% chance with this thing ending by Saturday morning. That's the timing right now. Of course, that could change, and so something that we'll be monitoring as we head through the next couple of days. Now, again, the weather impact alert for today is really all about the cold temperatures and the winds that we have out there. Again, those winds are starting to die down as high pressure continues to build in, but you need to dress in layers, and I would hold on to them even as we head into the afternoon. A 42-degree temperature for us, especially this time of year, is below our average. When it comes to this winter weather, well, we're tracking a Gulf low. This area of low pressure will slide just to the south of us, and depending on where it lines up will determine how much precipitation we'll receive, what type it will be, and so that's something that we're looking at. The possibility for a wintry mix is certainly coming into fruition for us as we get a little bit closer. It is likely that some parts of our area will see that wintry mix. Could it be rain mixing with snow? Could it be rain mixing with freezing rain or sleet? Those are all the things that are still up in the air for us, and so we still can't put a good thumbprint on the amount of an impact we'll have or what type of an impact we'll have around the area, again, with the totals not being known at this particular time. The one thing we do know is that cold air is certainly in place, and it's going to be locked in here for the rest of the week. We are watching that cold air. It has begun to move a little bit further down to the south over northern Florida as we speak, and so it will be with us right on through the weekend as well. Area of low pressure will start to form, and that's what's going to try to bring in some more of that moisture. And that area of low pressure system remains to the south of us, but how far north will it rise? That's going to be the question that we'll be looking at. We'll watch and see where it will warm up. Obviously, as the temperatures start to warm up here in the southern portions of the state, they'll just experience mostly rain there, and then on the northern end of this is where we're going to get the snow. That's where we're going to get the ice or the freezing rain, things that we'll watch out for as far as that's concerned. Nothing out there right now, and so even as we talk about this particular system, we're waiting for it to form. It'll be coming again out of the Gulf and make its way closer to the southern end of our state, may even stay down into across the panhandle of Florida before it begins to move out. Is it going to be a very fast mover? That will determine amounts as well, or have an effect on the amounts. If we're talking about a mix, we're not talking about high totals. All right, and so a lot of things go into this, and so as we begin to talk about this, as we begin to fish it out, I just want you to keep in mind that I know thoughts of Snowmageddon comes to mind. If I had to put this on a scale right now between 1 and 10, 10 being run for the hills and 1 being let's go to the pool, I'm looking at a 4 or a 5 right now. We're letting you know about this because we want you to be aware of what could take place. And so right now it's alert time. Right now it's be on the lookout time. And so paying attention to our forecast each day will be key in how this will affect you. And also timing plays a role in this. We've had snow since Snowmageddon, all right? We had higher amounts since then as well, but timing worked out for us where the system may have come in on a weekend. Certainly on a Friday, and the timing right now looks to be more toward the mid-morning or afternoon before it begins to roll in. Gives us time at least to wake up in the morning, you don't see anything, and then maybe get out early, and you can, won't have a lot of traffic at least on the roadways once we get to the morning. So that's some good news there. So nothing taking place out there right now. As you take a look at this radar satellite composite, it shows that we do have a few clouds overhead. Those clouds are breaking up as we speak. So we'll have the sunshine around as we head into the afternoon, and much of the rest of the week we'll have that sunshine around as well. That system really not forming until we get to Wednesday, Thursday in this particular area. Right now, high pressure is building in. Our winds or flow is out of the north. Again, the winds are starting to subside as the area of low pressure continues to push away and high pressure continues to build in. So it's going to feel a little bit better than it did yesterday, but certainly we'll still have the cold air in place, so you definitely need to bundle up. We just won't have that wind biting at us like we had yesterday. Boy, was it cold. All right, when we talk about this area of low pressure, a couple different routes that it can take. Of course, a little southerly track would mean one thing for us, a northerly track would mean another thing for us, and we're not really certain of how far north this area of low pressure will get. The lower the track, or the more southerly the track, the more of a snow event for us, a little bit more likely that way. The further north the area of low pressure goes, the more of a mix could begin to take place. And of course, we'll be tracking that low as we go along, and then the speed of it. How fast will it get through? How much moisture will it bring to us, especially with that cold air in place, to indicate how much of a mix or snow or rain that we would receive. Right now, it looks likely that we could see a mix, especially for the northern ends of the state. And so much of North Georgia, I'm going to include Atlanta in that, likely to see a mix, but how much, of course, is still not determined as of yet. And this more of a northerly track would push that snow a little bit further off to the north. Now, if it goes a little bit further south, then that line would begin to push a little bit further down. And so when we talk about a mix, again, we could be talking about some freezing rain, mixing with rain, could be talking about a little snow mixing in that as well. We look at several different models. Two in particular that we watch quite frequently would be the American model and also the European model. You can see where they differ as well. We got it stopped here by Friday afternoon. It shows that snow could be north of the city of Atlanta. Now, how much we're uncertain about, but you can see where it has that blue in there that indicates some snow. That pink would indicate some mixing taking place, and so that could be some freezing rain mixing with rain, of course, and then all rain once you get down over into Peachtree City, down toward LaGrange, south of Thomaston. Now, if you look at the European model, it brings that snow line a little bit further down to the south, which now would include Atlanta. But generally speaking, around I-20 southward, you're looking at a mix or all rain. North of I-20, you're looking at a mix or all snow. At least that's the way the models are shaping up right now, but you see some of the differences in those. There's also a timing factor in this as well, where the American model brings the mix in a little bit quicker, meaning earlier in the day on Friday than the European model. So these things would have to come together. There's the potential for ice, and so if we look at that potential right on through Saturday morning, you're not talking about large amounts, at least right now, and we're talking about like accumulations, but very, very low. And notice how low this particular model has it. All right, want to show you the difference in another model, right? And so if you look at this one, the potential for ice brings it a little bit further to the north and brings a little bit more, especially around the city of Atlanta. When we talk about ice, which is out of all the wintry precipitation that we're looking at, ice is something that we really don't want. When we talk about ice, you're talking about that weighing down power lines, weighing down trees, which could lead to power outages. Of course, the slickness on the roads would be one thing. If I had my druthers, having forecast snow and ice, snow would be a lot better. Obviously, we can get some traction through that, or just all rain. That would be the better of the two. Certainly, when we're dealing with ice, you're talking about a more dangerous situation as far as traveling and being out and about. And so we definitely don't want that. So this is something that we'll be watching over the next couple of days as well. So what we can say and what we can't say. We got that Arctic cold air already in advance of the storm. So that's here. And the good news with that is that it's going to fluctuate a bit. So you will be down below freezing, but then we'll get above freezing at times, especially during the afternoon. All right. We'll be tracking a Gulf low that will be making its way closer to our area, which will spread that moisture further off to the north. So again, the likelihood of us receiving a wintry mix is a little bit on the higher side at this particular point. Timing of this would be Friday, and we'll say for now, Friday between mid-morning and afternoon, right on into the evening through Saturday morning. All right, which would indicate it being somewhat of a quick mover for us. What's harder to say is the exact path of the storm, as I was showing you. Could be a more northerly track, could be a more southerly track. So that's something that we'll be looking at over the next couple of days. If everyone will see that wintry mix, well, some portions of our area could be seeing the freezing rain. Some portions of our area could receive all snow. Some portions could get all rain. All right. At this point, we can't really pinpoint where those places will be. So that's something that we'll be watching out for. And of course, we'll update you and let you know. How much of a particular type is certainly uncertain as well. We'll certainly know as the system gets a little closer. And again, we'll watch the speed, the forward speed of that particular system and the extent of the impacts, what will be taking place. Here's the European model. We can show you with timing on this, how it's shaping up. And so we're looking at all the way till Thursday, stopped it here Thursday night. We're still on the drier side. Some clouds probably pushing into our forecast area, but you can see where the area of low pressure is getting underway, spreading that moisture over into Texas. You notice the more the north you go, that's where you start to see that mix, and then eventually all snow, especially over toward the Dallas area. Looks likely that they'll get somewhat of a mix as well. Then it starts to spread a little bit further over toward the east. Now, this particular model brings it in by Friday afternoon. You'll notice just south of the city of Atlanta, so south of I-20, that's where that mix will be according to the European model, and then the rest of us getting maybe a little bit of a mix during the daytime before it changes over to all snow. Now keep in mind, 1:30 in the afternoon on Friday, we're forecasting a high of about 38 degrees. So we'll be somewhere around the freezing point, maybe a little bit above that during the day. And so more likely of a mix, especially in the city, until we get to the evening with the precipitation still around, that could change over into more of a freezing rain or snow mix for our forecast area if this particular model holds together before it begins to wind down as we get into Saturday. And I'll stop it here by 9 o'clock. And again, this is just one particular model. All right. By 9 o'clock, everything pushing over toward the east, and then we'll begin to dry it out. Likely it will be a bit windy behind this particular system. Wind acts as a drying agent for us, so whatever hit the ground will begin to dry out. The question will be, will it dry out before the temperatures begin to drop below the freezing mark once again? And then we'll be watching to see maybe some black ice on the roads. But that's once we get beyond the system. Again, timing of this is going to be very key. The fact that it would come in by Friday afternoon, going into the evening would be good for us, because a lot of folks getting off of work, maybe getting off work early, getting out of school early, and then a lot of us wouldn't be on the roads on Saturday, so less of an impact there. Right now, we're looking at a 50% chance for this to take place on Friday, and then a 40% chance of it winding down as we head into Saturday. This could change, could come in a little faster than we're talking about Thursday, could move a little slower, and then we're talking about an extended period of time where we could be seeing seeing precipitation in our forecast area. All right, I'm going to toss this over to Danielle Moss, who's going to talk more about this system and the probability of receiving winter weather.
Exactly, Chesley. It's definitely a very fluid situation. I kind of want to do a little bit of a reset. Let's bring it back to today and moving through the rest of the next few days. What can you expect? Here's a look at our live radar. There's absolutely nothing going on right now, which is actually a good thing because it's so cold outside. So we're getting a little bit of a break. Here's a live look into Noonan this morning as the sun begins to rise. It is a great start. It's just very cold out there. Currently 28 degrees, but it feels like 17. You can see why we have that weather impact alert until around 10 a.m. this morning. So while we are anticipating a lot of sunshine, it's just going to be so cold. And it's not just cold here in Atlanta. It's cold pretty much all across the southeast. We're really starting to see the effects of this really cold front. It's a really strong cold front that moved through, and now we're starting to see the really cold weather sneak on in here. In fact, it feels like 17 degrees here in Atlanta, feels like 15 up in Canton and 13 in Carrollton. So everyone really feeling that cold bite today. And this weather impact alert goes until 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Just in case you forgot, the cold temperatures and the gusty winds, they will be continuing. Heavy layers, heavy layers, heavy layers. Remember that as you head throughout the rest of this week, not just today because we have the weather impact alert, but this whole entire week. You want to make sure that you are dressing very warm, get the gloves, the hats, whatever you need to so that you are prepared. Now, this is the big one, the Gulf low, what Chesley was talking about. This is, we see the cold before the storm already setting into place. Now, that means that when this Gulf low arrives, you could see a wintry mix possible. We don't really know the impacts of the tracks because the models aren't really matching on that front just yet, but we do see that there is a potential and the models are agreeing on that. So that's why we have to kind of bring you the information. We want you to be prepared and not scared. We want you to be proactive in being prepared as well. So when are we anticipating this? Definitely to be impacting us on Friday and Saturday, and it's a possibility of a wintry mix. So you need to make sure that you're paying close attention to the forecast because with winter weather, just in all honesty, it's very hard to forecast. So you have to make sure that you are staying up to date with the latest information because these models are ever changing. They're continuously updating. So make sure that you are in the know. I want to talk a little bit about forecasting winter weather. I just told you it is difficult. Why is it so hard? Because here in the South, our temperatures play a large part in our winter weather forecasting. So we have to look for the pattern recognition. Is it going to happen? Do we have the ingredients to even see winter weather? Even if we see it on those models, are the temperatures going to be in place there? Are the winds going to be in place there? And we look at that around 7 to 10 days out. Now, are we trending up or down? Does it look more likely or less likely that this is going to occur? As of right now, with this current Gulf low that we are tracking, it does look like we are trending upwards of the possibility of seeing a wintry mix because the models are agreeing so well. In fact, I worked this weekend, and on Saturday and Sunday, we're really starting to see the models start to come into an agreement about the winter weather, just timing and what kind of winter weather and where it's going to happen. That is the big question. And that's when we go 3 to 5 days out. Timing and storm type. You look for your snow, your sleet, or your ice storm. What are we expecting exactly? Because all three of those things could bring different impacts to us here in Georgia and across the southeast. If you're traveling towards the end of the week, you definitely need to stay on top of the forecast because you could be seeing some really big impacts here. Now, forecast details, amounts, location, and timing. That comes 1 to 3 days out. So once again, bottom line, make sure you're staying up to date on the latest forecast. That's going to give you the best chance of knowing what's going on. I know Chelsea went over this, but we're going to say it again. What can we say? What can't we say? We do know the Arctic cold air is definitely here. We are already feeling it. It feels like 17 degrees right now here in Atlanta. We will be tracking a Gulf low. You saw all of the models that Chelsea showed you, and a chance of wintry weather. And the timing, once again, Friday and Saturday as well. Saturday it starts to dry out and things move out, but then we have to worry about, is it going to be warm enough to melt whatever is on the ground? Or is there going to be accumulation? So what can't we say the exact path of the storm? If everyone will see wintry weather, some of us could just be seeing rain. And that is also a possibility because once again, those temperatures play a really big part in that. How much of what type of wintry mix could we be seeing? Like I said, snow, sleet, ice storm. Those are the three things that we have to be watching for, or a mixture of all three. You never know what you can see when you're talking about winter weather, and the extent of the impact. So let's go through again. We're going to show you the GFS track. This is just one of the models that we are looking at. This model's right here. It shows that around Friday morning, we could start to see that wintry mix coming in. And that is definitely a possibility because think about how cold it was this morning at 4:30. If we have this Gulf low approaching us very fast and around 4:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, it's still very cold outside, that's definitely a chance for us to see the wintry mix. And like I was mentioning earlier, if you are traveling, check out the west in Memphis, definitely seeing some really heavy snowfall for your Friday morning, and they're going to get it first. So we're going to start to see the impacts of this, just like severe weather. You start to see it coming in from the west and you start tracking it to say, okay, this thing is coming. This is what we can expect. And this is exactly what happens with this forecast track. And honestly, with both of them showing exactly this wintry mix. It's just, where is it lying? Where is this mixture line falling? Where is the rain going to be? Once again, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we might not be below freezing, and that's why we're showing more rain near the metro Atlanta area. But in the North Georgia mountains, you're starting to see more of that pink, and that is that wintry mix. And the blue, that's where you could see that snowfall. Then as you head into your overnight hours into Saturday, just from this forecast model, you can start to see it becoming more of a rain event, but then leftover moisture, because the cold air behind this on Saturday will still be a little bit cold there. We could maybe see a little bit more of flurry activity. Now, this is the second model that we use. I want to give you another look at this one. So once again, Friday morning, this has it coming in a little bit later. If you remember from the GFS, that was coming in around 4:30 in the morning. Meanwhile, this one coming in around 9 a.m. And it comes in a little bit to the south of us. Rainfall coming in into South Georgia. However, as we advance it just a little bit, by 5 o'clock p.m., we start to see that wintry mix take effect. But once again, maybe we're not below that freezing mark. So is it going to be rain? Is it going to be snow? Is it going to be sleet? Whatever we're looking at, that's what we have to continue to forecast and tell you all the best news there. On Saturday, though, Saturday looks mostly dry. It's just the temperatures. What are we going to see with those temperatures? Is it going to be warm enough to melt whatever we're expecting? And once again, here's a look at our model compare. So this lets you know a little bit better about when we say the models aren't really agreeing per se on the track and exactly accumulation totals. In fact, for the GFS, North Georgia definitely getting more snow. But then when you see this pink is honestly, that's not what you want to see, because that could definitely be a wintry mix, or it could be freezing rain, and freezing rain means ice, and that could definitely be more detrimental. When we talk about ice, as of right now, Chesley showed you this, right now as far as the ice potential is concerned, it's starting to look a little bit better chance for some more ice to be accumulating here in the metro Atlanta area. This is just based off of one model. So models are not agreeing right now on track, accumulation totals, or even the winter precipitation type. And that is definitely something that you need to know. So we're waiting to see exactly how that unfolds. But we also want to tell you a little bit more about our extreme cold alerts. Now, we haven't had a wind chill advisory or anything like that in a long time. We've had wind advisories, but not a wind chill. And that's because they've changed that, the National Weather Service. So extreme cold watch, if they issue this, that means that it's dangerously cold air with or without wind. So before, they were just talking about a wind chill watch. That means that, oh, the winds are so high that it's going to make it feel like this degree and below. Well, now you can see a cold watch. An extreme cold warning means that it's going to be dangerously cold air with or without wind is expected. So same with severe weather. Watch means possible. A warning means definitely expected. Let's talk a little bit more about those precipitation types, because this is very important too. So once again, this kind of draws it out a little bit better for you, right? For warmer air, when those temperatures are above freezing, you're looking more of rain. But this blue line here, that represents your freezing mark, right? So the temperature changeover, the closer you are between the rain and the cold. So when you're teeter-tottering right on that freezing line, then you start to get freezing rain, and that gives you more ice accumulation. That's not what you want to see. The colder it is, the better the chance for snowfall and sleet. Snow is really best case scenario. That freezing rain, we don't want to see that. That definitely could be causing some really big ice issues. That's not something that we really want. But just to talk about it, we want to cover all of our bases this morning. Let's give you some black ice driving tips, right? If this is on the road, and you need to know this anyway because it's going to be cold outside regardless of what happens, and because we did get some rainfall yesterday, even this morning, there could be some slick spots on those roads. So another great time to remind you of these things. Make sure that you keep your steering wheel straight. You don't want to brake, which means that you don't want to be driving too fast. That's the key. And if you don't need to be driving, just stay at home. Take your foot off that accelerator to slow down. You just kind of want to coast it through. If you've ever lived up north or anywhere that gets a lot of this freezing rain or ice or sleet, you know that that is really not good for our roadways, because even if they treat that, if it's a freezing rain, it's going to start as rain, and then when those temperatures start to fall, that rain's going to wash away that treatment, so the roads still become icy and very slick in spots, especially on those bridges and the overpasses. So you have to be careful. A lot of people have to go to work, but sometimes you just can't prevent it. Now, as we take a look further, this is our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. We are definitely going to keep our eye on those temperatures because, like I said, that plays a big part in our accumulation after the storms roll through. So after we see the wintry mix fall, what can we expect next? Once that falls, we need to make sure we see some melting, because that's very important. That kind of limits your impact going forward. So if we are looking at snow, ice, sleet on Friday and going into your Saturday, well, then Sunday and Monday, we need the melting to occur so that the roads clear up, things start to get a little bit better. So 8 to 14 days out, it still looks like, unfortunately, we're still going to be a little bit below average. That does not mean that we're going to be below freezing. That's below our average for this time of the year. I think it's another great time to talk about the Atlanta's snowiest winters. And as of right now, the latest snowiest winter was probably in 2010 and 2011, where we got 7.1 inches, and that was our 5th snowiest winter. So keep that in mind. 2013 and 2014, we actually got 5 inches of snow, and that was tied for in 1991 to 1992. So it can happen. We're definitely not going to discredit it. Here's a 7-day forecast for you. Once again, we do have the weather impact alert for this morning, and it goes until around 10 a.m. Definitely going to be cold all day long. Check out our temperatures for Wednesday and Thursday. Highs here, 43 degrees for both of those days. Plenty of sunshine. We should be dry until we get to this Gulf flow, and that's when we start to see the changeover with the colder weather, because as you can see, high on Friday near 38 degrees. Once again, that plays a big role in exactly what we're going to see falling from the sky. So that's why we have our little raindrop, possibly a little snowflake, and maybe even a little bit of sleet, because that 38-degree mark can definitely make a huge difference. Now, as we continue to go on, 44 degrees is actually really good news. Now we need that cloud cover to move out so the sun can really get to shining up in the sky. And then on Monday, highs will be near 48 degrees. So that's even warmer. Definitely going to be seeing some melting as we head into the beginning of next week with whatever falls. But as of right now, this 38 degree plays a huge part in whatever happens this weekend. We're looking at models right now. So this is just a roundabout guesstimate of what could happen. And if those temperatures fall below freezing, then that will definitely cause more impacts on us, and not just here in Georgia, but across the southeast as people prepare. So that's another reason why I have that weather impact alert for your Friday and your Saturday. Now, Chesley, I know that you had a little bit of a break. What are you looking at over there on your side?
Same thing you're looking at. It's the same. We're all looking at this potential for winter weather in our forecast area. We know how important this is to you. I got a call from a friend of mine that said they went to this grocery store this morning. Eggs are already gone. We know you make that run. It's not our fault. Now, we just deliver. We don't make it up. We just deliver and try to give you the best case scenario for what can potentially happen in our forecast area. And we're doing this because there is the potential for winter weather to come to us as we head or get closer to the weekend. So we're watching for this. Now, if you go outside right now, you're not going to see any effects from any snow or winter system that's coming our way at all. In fact, over the next couple of days, you're just going to see the sunshine around. Now is the best time to talk about what's coming down the pipe. All right. And so that's why we do 11 Live weather impact alerts to let you know as we take a look at the 7-day outlook, what's potentially coming our way. Well, you're going to get the sunshine today. You're going to get it again tomorrow and Thursday as well. Mostly sunny skies for the next couple of days. Very cold temperatures, though. We're starting off with temperatures in the 20s. So it's going to be a frigid start each and every morning. We had the wind around this morning, which is why you see that red for this morning. Tomorrow, not as windy. In fact, I think the winds will be on the calm side, but calm winds and clear skies means very cold temps. So we're going down into the low 20s. Going to get up to 43 degrees for the afternoon high. Sun helping us out in that regard, just a little bit there. We'll do it again as we head into Thursday. It's Thursday late that I think we'll start to see some of those changes come around. Each and every day as we forecast, we'll be focused on Friday and Saturday. And as models come in, new information comes in, we'll be updating you on the potential impacts for our forecast area and let you know exactly what you can expect depending on where you are, because everyone won't receive everything unless we're just going to all get some snow, a case like that, or we're all going to get some rain. That could be the case, but I do think there'll be some wintry precipitation in the area in some spots, especially the further north we go. So especially in the higher elevations of the North Georgia mountains, I know snow and maybe some freezing rain is not really uncommon for you. Pretty much every year you do receive that because you're up in the mountains there. But some of the areas that are not used to it, or not seeing it. So it's been a while since it snowed around here. We want to update you on the impacts that you can receive. So we tell you in advance that we are looking at a 11 Live weather impact alert. Means we're watching it. We're watching it for you. There are no watches or warnings out, winter advisories or anything like that out for these days yet. Again, it's the potential for it, something coming our way. That's what we do, folks. We're prognosticators, and so we forecast. All right. And today we were forecasting some cold temperatures along with the wind, making it feel a little bit more frigid. We started out with temperatures in the 20s, still there right now in some spots, but with the light winds that we have, and the winds are starting to let up just a little bit, it's creating colder temperatures, or the way it feels on your skin. So we had wind chills in the teens this morning. All right, that's the way it feels on your exposed skin, which is why we were telling you to bundle up, layer up with the hat, scarf, gloves, even the little hand warmers at times, especially for those of you who have to work outside or be outside for a long period of time, standing outside waiting on the bus stops. Hopefully a lot of parents, kept the kids inside the car, warming them up before the bus came, and then you let them out. And hopefully there's some heat on the bus as well, and heat in school. I went to school where there was no heat. Eesh. We're looking at the potential for the freezing rain, or for at least a wintry mix. Now I keep saying freezing rain, but rain could mix with freezing rain, could mix with snow, or could mix with sleet, or it could be all of the above, right? And so that's what the possibility for us in this area is. We're watching an area of low pressure, or we'll be watching an area of low pressure that's going to come from the south. It will stay south. How far south it will be is still in question. How far north will it rise? Still in question. Those things will all play a role in the type of precipitation that we'll receive, or whether or not we'll get any winter weather around our forecast area. So those are the things that we're looking at. Cold air is already in place. You felt it yesterday. I know you did. I did as well. We started out with temperatures in the 50s during the morning with the rain that was around. I had my jacket open. But by the time I left, with those winds kicking up and that cold air in place, woo, especially last night and this morning as well. And guess what? That cold air is not going anywhere. It's going to remain locked in place. All this blue that you see in here is below average temperatures for us, even getting as far south as northern Florida. You'll notice, though, as we head toward the end of the week, how some of this warm air starts to move back up into the southern portions of our state along the panhandle of Florida. This is that area of low pressure that we've been talking about that's going to bring in that southerly flow. It's also going to bring in some moisture off the Gulf. And so it will start over toward the Texas area, Arkansas, Louisiana, and then eventually make its way over toward us. So that we have the benefit of looking back off, at least to the west, to see what's coming our way as it moves over toward the east. And so we'll be tracking it as it begins to move in. Now, as it begins to move into the area, we can kind of fine tune how much we will receive, what type of precipitation we'll receive. And right now, that's just a little uncertain. You know why? Because there's nothing out there. right? Hasn't even formed yet. We're seeing a few flakes right now over toward the Dallas area, but that's because of the cold air that's there with a little bit of available moisture, and some of that's being pushed out of the clouds. We saw that yesterday. We had mostly cloudy skies. I even went to the store and saw a few flakes flying around, right? We had that being pushed out of those clouds, and so those clouds were with us through the overnight, but now we're starting to see those clouds begin to let up, and so they're backing up a little bit. So our westernmost county, extreme western and northwesternmost counties still have the clouds in place right now, but those clouds are fading away, and so mostly sunny skies for much of the state, and that's the way it's going to be for much of the day today. Maybe a few high thin clouds, that'll be it, but cold air in place despite the fact that we will have mostly sunny skies. You see the clouds back off to the west of us over toward Alabama and to Mississippi. That's even starting to subside. We have interest in what's taking place in D.C., and they got over a foot of snow last night. That has even begun to subside up there to the north. We've been talking about the system to the north of us as well. That storm system caused a lot of backup. I had a friend of mine coming through Kentucky, called me while he was coming through saying, am I going to make it? I don't know what it is about us Southerners. If we just take our time and be cautious, yes, we can make it, even with what we're expecting to take place over here. So really not developing, or that we'll see it, at least on this particular map, until about Thursday. I think that's when we'll start to see some of that precipitation begin to move further off to the north as that area of low pressure continues to develop in the south. Now, how strong will it be? That's also a question, right? How much moisture will it send our way? How much will it kick up to the north? That's going to be the question as well as we go along. Right now, high pressure is building in, so it's going to get rid of these clouds. And over the next couple of days, right on through about Thursday, we're going to hold on to this sunshine along with the cold air that's in place that we were showing you. This particular map here that Danielle and I have been talking about kind of shows the potential track of this area of low pressure. A more northerly track would mean more of a mix for us. The southern portions of the state, all rain likely with more of a northerly track. All right, more of a southerly track means that we'll be on the northern fringes of this, which would mean more of a snowy scenario for us. All right, and so that's something that we have to watch closely as the storm gets a little bit closer. Either way, what we're a little bit more certain about, which is why we're doing these impact alerts for you, is that we're likely to see a mix in our state, more likely up here toward the north, all right, which I would include Atlanta in this and maybe just south of the city. That's where we have that rain mix line right about now. So even the Weather Service has been saying if you just split the city in half, I-20 southward, right, could see more of a rain scenario. I-20 northward would see more of a snow or a mixing scenario with the information that we have right now. Now, could that change? Likely it could change. And what I know about winter systems is that they do change on an hourly basis. Even as it's moving through the area, it could change, right? And so we'll have to watch that, especially for a more southerly track. And again, I was mentioning how much moisture could be available up here to the north. We could be on the northern fringes of it where it doesn't kick out enough moisture that we only receive just a little bit of precipitation coming down. So that's something that we have to watch out for as well as we get a little bit closer. But right now it looks likely that we could see a mix. Now, when will that take place? How long will it take place? Really depends on the speed of this area of low pressure, and as it gets over toward the east of us, likely as it moves over toward the east, we'll start to slide up toward the northeast. We'll get a little bit of wraparound from it. So we're expecting this to last. Timing right now looks to be Friday, lasting into Saturday, and then some winds on the back end of that. So it would probably wind down maybe as a few flurries flying around as it begins to pull away from our forecast area. But we look at model information. Now, there's a lot of models that we look at. Two in particular would be the American model, or the GFS, and also the European model. They show us, and really we wait to try to see how they come into agreement. And that increases our awareness of what we can expect, or what we would be looking at as far as winter weather goes, or any type of severe situation. So first is the American model, and you can see with an early look at this, and we got it parked here by Friday afternoon. You're talking about a snow mix line just north of the city of Atlanta. So all of our northern counties likely, a little bit more likely to see more of a snowy scenario, and then the mix would take place in the Atlanta metro area, and just south of that, you're talking about all rain once you get down toward LaGrange and Thomaston, where if you look at the European model, that mixed line is a little bit further down to the south. Now that snowy scenario includes much of Atlanta and then up to the north as well. These lighter colors would indicate the lightness of the amounts. Can't really go on that based on the fact that the storm is not even there yet, and so we really don't know the intensity. But this gives us at least a guide and something to look at as to say, okay, this is the potential of what could happen in our area. So if you look at the European model, you got that mixing taking place a little bit further down to the south and the rain further south than that. And you're probably saying, okay, well, which one do you like better? Which one performs better when it comes to a snow scenario? Well, typically for over the years that I've been forecasting, the European model does a little bit better job than the American model, but that could flip on us as well. And so if you're looking at this particular scenario and you're saying, I like the European model, then you're liking more of a snow scenario. Now, if you like snow, you may be thinking, okay, well, that means we're going to get 17 inches of snow. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all, folks. That could be just maybe an inch, maybe up to an inch. That'll be it. Any mixing that takes place is going to lower those totals a little bit. So keep in mind, now we got this at Friday afternoon. We're expecting our temperature by Friday afternoon to be above the freezing mark. So that would certainly mean some mixing taking place. I wanted to show you this as well because this looks at the ice potential in our area. And again, these are early indications. These will change. They will change. Right now, if we had to go with today, you're looking at, this is one particular model, and it shows that we're looking at more of an icing taking place a little bit further down to the south. This kind of follows that European model, which shows that line, that mixing line a little bit further down to the south, where up here from Atlanta northward would be more of a snow type of scenario. So you're looking at the ice potential down to the south, and these are very light totals here, so early indicating that. Now, if you look at the American model, it shows where you have a little bit more of the icing up to the city. So that mixed line would be a little bit further to the north. All this really depends on that track. It also has to do with the temperatures and where the temperatures will be. And I suspect that once we get to the afternoon, of course, once we get to the afternoon on Friday, temperatures will be above the freezing mark. So you're not looking at much in the way of snow now, although I did forecast weather in Buffalo and it would snow at 41 degrees. So I know we talk a lot about that freezing mark, that 32 degree mark, 33 degrees, 34 degrees, snow could happen in that. So here's what we can say right now. Here's what we can't say. The Arctic air is in place. Certainly that cold air is here. You felt it. Unless you have not gone outside yet, but when you walk outside, you'll certainly feel the difference. We're tracking an area of low pressure that's going to be coming to the south of us. It's going to come out of the Gulf. We'll track to the south of us. That we at least know. And also that we're expecting a wintry mix to take place here. It's becoming a little bit more likely each day that we look at these models that a wintry mix is certainly possible, especially for North Georgia. And I'm going to include Atlanta in that, the metro area in that. Timing right now looks to be on Friday. Now, Danielle was showing you a model that looks like a little bit earlier on Friday. I was looking at a model that shows a little bit later in the afternoon. Either way, Friday is the day that we're paying close attention to. With the information that we have right now, Friday looks to be the day, and that stretches into early Saturday. Now, how early Saturday could be in the wee hours of the morning that things begin to wind down, or maybe it stretches into about 8, 9 o'clock. And so that's something that we're going to have to watch out for. What we can't say, or what we won't say right now, is the exact path of the storm. Can't say that with any certainty at all because that can change. And again, as I showed you, there's nothing out there at all right now. And so the exact path, really don't know that right now. Whether or not everyone will see the wintry mix is certainly in the air. When we talk about a rain snow mix, some of us will see all rain or could see all rain. Some of us will get some of that mixing in there. Some of us will get all snow from the event. Okay, and so that's something that we'll watch out for and update you as we go along. How much of a particular type of snow could we get, or freezing rain or rain could we receive? That's up in the air as well. As the system gets a little bit closer, we can fine tune some of these potentials as far as snowfall goes, and we'll update you on that as well, and the extent of the impacts. And I like to say, when you talk about impacts, timing is key as well. All right, so if the system comes in a little bit later on Friday, that would be key for us because it gives you a chance to get home. A lot of folks don't have to necessarily go to work, or a lot of people would be off from work on a Friday evening, Saturday scenario, and knowing that winter weather could be moving into our area gives us a chance to kind of anchor ourselves down, wait for it to pass before we get out and do anything. And so that would be key for a lot of us. So that limits the gridlock that we would see, or accidents that we could see on the road based on winter weather, or gives us a time, since we're out of school and off work, to get outside and play in some of it, right? I know a lot of you like that, right? A lot of you get the dog out there and let it run around in snow, probably wondering, what is this stuff? right? Because we haven't seen it around here in a while. This is one particular model. This is a European model. I want to show you this because I want to show you timing-wise what we're looking at here. Now today, nothing but sunshine around our forecast area. We're going to hold on to that for Wednesday as well, even as we head into Thursday. Notice the system now starting to get itself underway, spreading that moisture up to the north. This is on Thursday by mid-morning going into the by the afternoon going into the evening. So you're talking about a lot of wet weather, according to this model, just liquid from Houston all the way up almost into Dallas, just to the Dallas area northward is where you find that mixing and then some snow taking place. So again, the area of low pressure down here to the south, the northern fringes of this, that cold air in place, would be receiving that wintry mix. Starts to move over toward the east, arriving here. In fact, I think we'll see the clouds late on Thursday. When you wake up on Friday morning, mostly cloudy skies. This particular model doesn't show the precipitation coming in until we get to early afternoon. Obviously light precipitation first, and then maybe you're starting to see some of that heavier rain or heavier precipitation getting in, where we can see some of those snowflakes coming down, or at least the mixing taking place. Keep in mind, this is Friday afternoon, so where will the temperatures be? Where will those temperatures line up? Even on Thursday night, that's going to be key, because clouds moving in help to blanket us. And so if Thursday, we're forecasting a high temperature of about 42, 43 degrees. If those clouds get in here and hold that temperature from dropping below the freezing mark, that changes things for us. All right, as the precipitation gets in, say our temperatures in the 40s, we're looking at more of a rain scenario with that. Right? If our temperatures are allowed to drop off before those clouds get in here and we get that temperature down, let's say below the freezing mark or right around the freezing mark, and then the clouds and the precipitation begin to move in, then we're talking about more of a snowy scenario. And so these, this is what the models do for us. They act as a guide for us to go by. And so if you look at this particular model, we say this plays out, that mixed line is a little bit further down to the south over the southern suburbs. Notice how it begins to move to the north, so it will fluctuate just a little bit. So the precipitation type, according to this model, will fluctuate through the day. At times you may be seeing some snow, at times it's mixing in with some rain, at times maybe even some sleet mixing in with that. Certainly by Saturday morning, stopped here by 9:30, a lot of that precipitation over toward the east of us, and then we start to clear out a little bit. There could be some wraparound from the area of low pressure as it moves through, that some of our northernmost counties could be experiencing a few flurries left over, or maybe even a little bit of a mix left over as it begins to pull away from our forecast area. So we're looking at, again, the timing for this right now to be on Friday. We'll give it a 50% chance for now. That could go up, or it could drop off just a little bit. 40% chance of it lingering into Saturday morning before things begin to wind down, and then we get that sunshine back in here as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Still very cold for this time of year. Those temperatures down into the 40s. Of course, our start temperatures down into the 20s. So yeah, the cold not going anywhere. That's a certainty for us, Danielle.
That is right, Chesley. The cold is here to stay, and we saw it yesterday. In fact, here's a video from Hiawassee. This was sent in to our 11 Alive Weather Impact Facebook group. And you can see there's some type of snow, sleet falling there in the North Georgia mountains yesterday. The good news is we are all dry this morning, and we're going to continue to stay dry throughout the next few days, which is great. This is not happening until the end of the week, so you have time to just enjoy the sunshine. It's not going to be warm, but at least you can enjoy the sunshine. It's 28 degrees currently, feels like 17 degrees out there. It is cold, winds around 14 miles an hour, and it is making it feel very, very cold all across the state. In fact, Canton feels like 19. Carrollton feels like 14 degrees. Even down in Thomaston, it feels like 22. And there is a weather impact alert until 10 a.m. this morning. So you have almost an hour, a little bit over an hour left for this first weather impact alert. And that's for the cold temperatures and the gusty winds. That doesn't mean that it's going to go away. We just wanted you to be alert to the fact that the cold weather is here. Now, moving forward, we are keeping our eye on this Gulf low. Once again, we've already seen the cold come in before the storm. That wintry mix is definitely possible. And like Chesley was saying, we still don't know the final tracks or the impacts. Regardless of the timing, we do know that Friday, something's going to fall from the sky. We are waiting to see exactly what that is going to be. There is a possibility of a wintry mix. We don't think it's going to be just rain. The temperatures are going to be cold enough to have a wintry mix, but how much of it are we going to see? Forecasting winter weather is never easy. It is one of the hardest things that you can do, especially in the South, because we don't get it a lot, right? And our temperatures are warmer, so we have to wait for our temperatures to get below that freezing mark or even really close to it, and that's when we can start to see that changeover happen. Now, we start watching this system coming in from 7 to 10 days out. I've been watching this system since this weekend or a little bit before this weekend, and it definitely has shown that the pattern is being recognized. That's 7 to 10 days out. Now we're looking at trending up or down. We are definitely saying that it's trending a little bit more likely that there could be some wintry mix. Now we're talking about the timing and the storm type. We're trying to figure it out. What is going to be falling from the sky and when is it going to be arriving and where will it be falling? Because you all want to know, well, are we going to be impacted here in Thompson? Are we going to be impacted here in the metro Atlanta area? And that's when we start to say, well, what can we say and what can't we say? The things that we can say is it's definitely a Gulf track low. We're definitely anticipating some wintry mix, and the Arctic cold air, it has already arrived. So that's for sure what we can say. And the timing will be Friday into early Saturday morning. Well, we can't say the path, if everyone will see wintry weather and how much of this wintry weather are we expecting? And that is really the big question. And I know that is what you all are wanting to know. So that's why we continue to show you the different models so that you can kind of guesstimate what do you think is going to happen? Just like Chesley, I like the European model for snow types because it does seem to forecast a little bit better with wintry precipitation. Doesn't mean that the GFS is going to be completely wrong, but definitely leaning more towards the European, and that's what we usually do for winter weather. But let's take a look at the GFS. We are going to give it a fair shot. Maybe it could be right this time. It looks like for the GFS track, we're going to start to see this coming in around 9 a.m. on your Friday morning. And then you can start to see that changeover around 10 a.m. 10 a.m. this is definitely possible because the temperatures are definitely going to be right in that sweet spot for that rain mix or snow, because it's not going to be what we consider the warmest part of the day. Now, as we head into Friday afternoon, you can kind of see it changing over into some rainfall. So make sure that you are paying close attention to those temperatures and the timing of the day. That also plays a huge part in it all as well. Then Saturday, we start to see things kind of drying out, but we could be seeing a little bit of leftover moisture. This is the track that Chesley and I both usually use for our winter weather, and that kind of holds back on the freezing rain, wintry mix, heavy rainfall until a little bit later on in the morning. And then as we advance it, it kind of moves out a little bit faster as well. In fact, it starts a little bit earlier and ends a little bit earlier. And that's what we're starting to see with the European model. And as you compare the two, if this happens, we're definitely seeing more snow accumulation even here in the metro Atlanta area and into North Georgia. Down in Peachtree City near Thomaston, you're seeing more of a wintry mix. But for the American model, or the GFS as we call it, we're seeing more of a wintry mix into the metro Atlanta area, which could up our ice potential, and that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see freezing rain because that is going to be detrimental on those roadways and for power as well. In fact, less than 1/10 of an inch on a power pole for ice accumulations, that can cause power outages. I was in Memphis before I came back home to Atlanta, and you can definitely see those power outages whenever you see ice accumulation on those power cords. It's also important to know the difference between extreme cold watch and extreme cold warning. This is new information for the National Weather Service for this year. We're not going to get a wind chill watch or warning like we used to. So extreme cold watch means that it's possible. Just like with severe weather, it could be possible. Now, expected is for the warning. Same with your severe thunderstorm watch means the ingredients are there. It could happen, but the warning means that it is expected, definitely could happen. Let's take another look at our precipitation type because this is just as important as timing it all out. What can we see? The warm air, the warmer it is, we're looking at just normal rainfall. This blue line, that is your freezing line. That's where your temperatures will be less than 32 degrees. The closer it is to that warm air, unfortunately, intensifies the chance for us to see freezing rain or sleet. But the colder it is, that gives us a greater chance to see some snowfall. And our temperatures are going to be around 38 degrees for Friday, and that's our high that we're forecasting. So it doesn't matter. We could be seeing a freezing rain, sleet. That's kind of the question that we are anticipating right now. But you need to know how to drive, right? If you have to go out, you need to take your time. Try your best to stay off the roads, but if you have to, keep your steering wheel straight, do not brake, and take your foot off the accelerator. Slow down, really stay at home. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast for you. Weather impacts alert for your Friday and your Saturday. Temperature is going to be playing a really big role in exactly what we see fall from the sky. And once again, another look at that weather impacts alert for Friday and Saturday. The possibility of a wintry mix. Make sure that you are staying up to date with the forecast. This is very, very important because with winter weather, these forecasts, they update all the time because the models are ever changing. So you definitely want to make sure that you are up to date with the latest forecast. Keep checking back on 11 Alive Plus or even on our app or even on our website so that you're up to date with the latest information as far as temperatures are concerned, what kind of wintry precipitation are we anticipating, and the timing for it all, and exactly where it all is going to be falling. So Friday and Saturday, right now looks like Friday morning into maybe Saturday morning is our best chance to see maybe some wintry mix, and that's why we have that weather impact alert. But Wednesday and Thursday looking a little bit better. At least it'll be around 43 degrees. Still cold out there. That wind chill is going to play a big role in that, but at least we will be dry. Friday and Saturday will be the big days. Temperatures after that warming up, and that's good. We want to make sure that those temperatures are above freezing. We need the sunshine though. That's going to cause melting for whatever falls out of the sky for your Friday and Saturday. So Sunday and Monday, 44 and 48 degrees. It doesn't matter where you are, even if you're traveling westward, make sure you are prepared for the potential for wintry weather. Stay up to date with your forecast and up to date with whatever you got going on, at least for the end of the week. We'll be right here to give you another update a little bit later on.